Morning, everybody. We're starting Colossians chapter 3 today. Uh, since then, you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is seated right at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived, but now you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. As we look at these verses, there's two main themes that I see as we go through that. The first thing is Paul is saying, look, you used to be in your sin, but now is the time, since Christ has come, it's time to start looking forward. It's time to start putting our mind on the things that are above, not on earthly things. And I think so many times, and we've talked about this before, that we get so caught up in the here and now that we forget that this is only temporary. At best, we get 80 years on this planet. And then after that, it's eternity. And we keep thinking, oh, well, if I could just get better in this life, if I could just get this next best thing. Rockefeller used to say, if I could have just $1 more. And we keep looking at the earthly things, those things don't last. And we need to set our minds on the heavenly things. And so Paul says, as you do that, put aside the things that will hold you back. And he lists a whole number of things there. And one of them is not worse than the other. The base word for sin is hamartia. There's your Greek for the day. But it's the idea of missing the mark. Think archery. If you miss the bullseye, that is hamartia. And so it's the idea that if you miss the target by a little bit or you miss the target by a lot of bit, you're still missing the mark. And sometimes we get in this idea of classifying that this sin is worse than another sin. And Paul's like, dude, it doesn't matter what it is, get off of it. And he starts off with things like sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is all idolatry. And then he says, but there's also more: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language. We may not be murderers, but we may use our tongue. And Jesus says that if we have it in our heart, we've already committed it. And I think those are words that we have to take seriously. That when we can't just think, oh well, I didn't kill anybody today, but how did you talk to them? How did you talk about them? Whether they heard you or not. I know it's very easy to complain about the government. I see it for years. I've been seeing it. There used to be a time where we could respect our presidents and our governors and our elected officials, and nowadays it's open market on them, and I feel bad for them. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican. I feel bad because they're basically, every time we say something negative about them, we're stabbing them in the back. Whenever you say something negative about your spouse, whenever you say something negative about your pastor or your children or things like that, you're going too far. And I know that's harsh. It sounds harsh, but Paul says, look, get rid of these things: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. I don't know many people that can say, yeah, I don't struggle with that. But we need to be aware of this. And I love what Paul says in the middle of all that. He says, these, verse 7, you used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived. You see, there's a new option that we can live a holy life. We can live a life that with our minds set on Christ, the things that are above. We don't have to live in this. In fact, the next section goes deeper into what that looks like, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But church, be careful with what you say and how you say it and who you say it about, because even though they may not hear you, we know the Lord knows a word before it's on our lips. Mike, got to be careful, church. Hey, keep on keeping on. Set your mind on things above. Don't beat yourself up, but keep on keeping on. Failure is not making a mistake. Failure is refusing to press on. So keep on keeping on, church. Go hard after God, and He will come hard after you. Be blessed today.